And even though the world has a front row seat to this beautiful orchestra of creation that we see playing on around us, people look at this beautiful song and have chosen to ignore the conductor altogether, right? We have such a self-centered and sinful heart within us that we can see the beautiful hand of a conductor running this beautiful creation all around us and still seek to write our own song in this life. Or we choose to worship the song itself, right? We choose to worship the earth or the material things of the earth, or man-made religions or philosophies or people or whatever it would be. While in the background, God's constant rhythm of love and of mercy continues to beat and pulse with such beauty, while the world comes up with 1,000,001 reasons to ignore the rhythm and ignore the conductor. The world looks on and watches the perfect rhythm of the song of life and ridiculously denies the fact that there's a conductor behind it. And we can look at history and we can see the results of people who silence the song in their heart, ignore the conductor, and go outside of God's rhythm. We look throughout history and what do we see? We see a very different and herky-jerky song play out on the timeline of history. Empires rising and falling, revolutions and wars and death with no real human progress, wealth attained, wealth dispersed. It just keeps playing out the world's corny little song. Great writers and great artists and great poets and great philosophers and great leaders that ebb and flow with the wind, only to live and then die out of tune with the conductor who gave them their instruments and their talent because they were supposed to play in rhythm with his song. I've seen and heard the songs that the lives of many people have played throughout history. And I'm here to tell you today that if yours or mine or anyone's song does not come in rhythm with God's rhythm of love and mercy and everything that we see playing out around us, this entire song we're playing with our life, the instruments we've been given, will all be in vain and useless. The greatest artist who paints his own picture in his own way will die with nothing on the canvas. Useless. Forgotten. The greatest writer who pens his own story his own way will have no sequel after it's rotting in a grave. The greatest do-gooder who does good works but denies God's works will die separated from the source of all that's good. The greatest leaders on this earth who lead people to rebellion or self-interest rather than the arms of the conductor will lead themselves and those who follow them straight to a godless eternity. Useless, no matter how much we've esteemed them. I've heard them all play their songs throughout history. I've watched it play out. I've heard a crazed German madman announce to the world a Nazi regime that would last 1,000 years. I've heard an Italian clown say that he was going to stop and restart the calendar based upon his own rise to power. I've heard a deluded Englishman claim that life was no more than random circumstance and people were just monkeys whose hair fell off. I've heard an Iraqi dictator claim victory over the U.S. despite their obvious disadvantage because his imaginary Allah was going to fight for him. And I've heard the song of America itself, once wealthy and powerful to such a degree that if we had desired, we could have outdone Caesar or Alexander in the scale of our conquest. History has played for us the worldly song of rebellion against the conductor and self-centered madness for all to hear and come in rhythm with. And so let's check out how their song's looking. Hitler, Mussolini, dead, rotting under the same sword that they lived by, remembered only in infamy. Darwin devolved into dust while the theory that he spent his life studying has been utterly debunked and disproven. Hussein captured and executed by the very nation that he said adored him. And America, trillions in debt, miles from the Constitution that we were built under God, is haunted by the fears of running out of the precious fuels that keep this materialistic machine going. All in one lifetime, all in our lifetime, all gone with the wind. And rising from the debris and the wreckage of that sad song stands only one man still today. Through whom and by whom and in whom lies our only hope of ever getting this song back in tune in our lives or in history. And that person is Jesus Christ.